Hey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Midday Musing. We are so excited to be able to meet you again. I know that spring is here and we're excited for the warm weather and just the reawakening and the rebirth that it brings. For me personally, it's God's way of telling me that there's always another chance. No matter what, I can grow again. So I want to welcome you. And today is a very special day because we have somebody very special with us, joining us from a different part of the world, very, very far. And I will have my co-host Pam introduce her to you today.
Well, hello, everybody. We are really in for a special treat because we are going to travel to Cambodia. Well, we are going to be talking to Cornelia Haener. She is the CEO of Sonja Memorial Hospital, which is managed by Hope Worldwide. So, Cornelia, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do out there?
Yeah, I was brought up in Switzerland. I went to medical school and trained as a surgeon, and then was asked in 1999 to become one of the surgeons at the Sihanouk Hospital Center of Hope in Phnom Penh, which was also managed by Hope Worldwide. And I worked there for 13 years, and when was asked in 2012 to become the CEO of Sonja Memorial Hospital, which is a huge compound, and we have developed it in the last 9 years. And the government, the Ministry of Health is very good in contact tracing, where we are always fearful, well, either some of our people are put in quarantine, or they might even put the whole hospital in quarantine and shut us down. Or the last kind of worry we have is that we are suddenly asked, if things explode in Cambodia, can you be the treatment site? Because we have good equipment, we have a centralized oxygen plant, would actually be ideal for an ICU. And we have neonatal ICU, so yeah, so we are just extremely watchful and hope that we will be protected from the pandemic. And another impact we saw was the fact that there are no tourists anymore, hardly any tourists. Before, we saw many tourists with international insurances, and that really helped us financially. We try to be self-sustainable and we cover our operating costs with our revenue. And so, of course, in the last 12 months, revenue went down, but it was interesting. Last year, the first 3 months, we had incredible revenue, and we were thinking, what's happening? Why do we have such a great revenue? And then March, April, it went down, and it was almost like Egypt and the 7 fat cows and the 7 baby cows. I was thinking, I think we had such good revenue in the first 3 months in 2020 because later on we are really we need these reserves, and so we are just praying that we can make it also through this year. We have reserves, and another thing we are hopeful about, we have just been asked maybe we become a vaccination center in collaboration with a provincial health department. So we can use, if we are really chosen as a vaccination center, we can use some of our staff to do that and collaborate with public system, collaborate with a provincial health department. And of course, it's also very good for PR and marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I had an opportunity to come to Cambodia, and when the hospital first was started, and I remember walking in and seeing a lot of people like sitting outside waiting to get into the hospital. It was just, there was such a huge need. And so we'll be praying about that. You know, what advice would you give us in this Western world that we live in from an Eastern perspective, based on all the years that you've learned, all your areas of expertise?
I think it's really thinking about community. Unity. And I think the last 12 months, when I watch the news, I see what's happening in Europe, what's happening in the US, there has been so much self-focus. And yeah, people, they don't want to wear masks because, oh, I have a constitutional right or human rights or whatever. And they're not thinking how to protect the community, how to protect the older generation. And I think in Asia, it's much more community-based, taking care of older generation. Of course, families live together, and it's important to take care of your grandparents and your parents. So you really want to protect them. And so if a government tells you, now you have to wear masks, now you have to do this, now you have to do that, people usually follow. But what you can learn from Eastern cultures, yeah, is building community, generosity, taking care of each other. That's what I saw.
That's true. And I think there is, I mean, we can all learn from each other, but it's great to know just that emphasis on community, you know,
Yeah,
building community. And I know
right,
you had shared earlier in our mails that, you know, you are all about developing core values in people.
right,
And I'm sure
right,
this is one of the core values you uphold, right?
right. Yeah, we have 6 core values in our organization. It's compassion, kindness, respect, integrity, teamwork, and we just added professionalism. But then I also have my own personal core values, and I added generosity and uh, a servant leader.
Mm, yeah,
So for me, I realized core values is everything.
yeah.
And when you want to lead people, first you have to start with yourself. What are your core values? Why are you doing what you're doing? Is it because you just want to have an impact? Like that's what I wanted 22 years ago. Oh yeah, I just want to have an impact. I want to help the poor. But ultimately it was maybe a little bit about myself, about feeling good. And then I realized, no, it's not about that. It's about having values where people, they see the love of God, they see the love of Christ, and that we are different, we are a light for people around us. And so I really had to start with myself. What are my uh, values, uh, values? And then how can I live that out?
Mm,
And yes, you can put it all over posters and your letterhead and your PowerPoint presentations and tell the staff. But if they don't see me
Yeah.
walking around and doing it, they will not follow. And so I saw in the last 2-3 years, because I was really more looking at myself, what am I doing? How do I come across? And when I changed myself, how people started to look and they start to follow.
yeah.
So it's not so much talking, but it's really you walk around. And for me, leadership is all about being at the front line, walking around, managed by walking around, showing my face, showing how to do things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is amazing. You know, you are a surgeon and you decided to give it all up, move to Cambodia, serve the poor, and you've been there for a long time. What would you like to give, you know, what advice would you give the next generation of leaders who'd like to catch this kind of a dream and serve the way you do? Even just not just gain the passion, but sustain it for so many years. What made you give it all up?
I think it's seeing what blessings we have been given. And it's, yeah, it's not for ourselves. It's really to give to others. So I always look at the parable with the talents. And so if you grow up in a rich country, well developed, a country with high education, like my country, Switzerland, or the US, or one of the European countries, we are extremely blessed.
Yeah.
We belong to the 10% of the population, of the world population that has almost everything. And I think first seeing that, and then coming to a country like Cambodia and realizing, well, these are the 90% who don't have these blessings, but why? And I always ask myself, why have I been born in a very blessed, very peaceful country, not in Cambodia?
Mm.
And it dawned on me, I think we are asked to do more. And I think that has been for me the foundation, even when I was a teenager, thinking I have been given much, so I have to give much.
Yeah.
And that has helped to sustain me. But when another aspect is really just gratitude, yeah, blessings, and on a rational level thinking about that, but then just extreme gratitude, and how and then how can I share it? But on the other hand, also, what can I learn? And I think that has been much more important in the last few years. It's not, oh, I have it all together, I have a great education, I come and I show you how to do things, but what can I learn from these people here? What can I learn from my staff? What can I learn from the culture? And then integrate, and through all of that, how can I grow to continue what I'm doing? And I think the more I learn about the life of my staff, my neighbors, and see what they are going through, the more it helps me to continue what I'm doing.
Right. Wow. Thank you.
So what I'm hearing from what you're sharing, Cornelia, is that you are not just serving, you're also learning from people around you.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
just that the gratitude that you feel for being blessed is now
right,
being poured out, because I think, the scriptures does talk about it's blessed to give than to receive.
right,
I think,
right.
you're in a perfect situation, and I think it's very inspiring. And I'm inspired. I know what it means to live in a third world country. There's so much need, and then now I know what it means to live in the first world country, where you can
Mhm.
actually kind of, get used to it and not see the need. The needs are not as
Right,
obvious, and so
right.
I really appreciate what you shared. And I think, what are some of the obstacles you have faced just being in Cambodia, just for you personally? How has it been challenging?
I think the biggest obstacle was uh, myself, my character. The Swiss character, right? Everything has to be very precise, very exact. And I think that has been an obstacle or a challenge.
Right.
I can more take myself back and just laugh
Yeah.
and make fun of myself. And then, of course, obstacles or challenges have been that I went through menopause, and that's not so much fun in a tropical country.
Right.
Okay, if you can be in an air-conditioned area, you might bear it, but otherwise it can
Yeah.
be unbearable. And I turned 60 in January, and so it's kind of, yeah, getting older and thinking I'm still single and what will happen in the next 20 years. But I know I have so many friends here, and where I say, you know what, I think we take care of each other. I also, my neighbors, I help them, they help me. When I'm sick, my neighbor is cooking rice porridge for me and fish and everything, and they really take care of me. When they have challenges, I help them. And so I think I see the blessing of giving, because suddenly things come in return.
Yeah. And Cornelia, I think we've been having such a treat just sitting at your feet. Your life is a legacy. The way that you took what you said, to whom much has been given, you changed to give more,
Right.
and I really appreciate your generous heart. I appreciate the way that you've kept that hospital going, and you're serving, and you're joyful, and you're fired up, and you live out your core values, and you've given us so much to learn and just to remember. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank
And
you.
yes, I feel like, true joy comes when you serve like that, right? And
Right.
the joy that comes from the overflow of the heart. And I know, for me personally, what I take back just from this conversation is that if you're a leader, you have to lead yourself first. And when
Exactly.
I asked you what was the obstacle, you said yourself, which is so true, because if we just learn to lead ourselves, I think most of the problems will be solved, I think.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
I am very inspired just having just spent this little time with you. And I know that this video, as it goes, around the world and different people watch it, I'm sure they'll get interested in knowing this place called Cambodia. And who knows, maybe someday we'll come to visit you in
Yes,
Cambodia.
I'd like to come
Then we
back.
can travel again.
Great. Well, as we come to the end of our conversation, I think I just want to leave our viewers with that thought. I'm very grateful for Dr. Cornelia and just her life and the insights that she shared. I hope that just as I can see, you can see how it's more blessed to give than to receive. And whatever you've been given, you give to others. And what a great lesson. And
Right.
please do like and subscribe. I know you guys have been very supportive for our channel. We look forward to meeting you again. And we're so glad that we'll be able to bring this little show to you once in a while and encourage you and add value to you. So with that, I'm going to be signing off and saying bye-bye to everyone. Cornelia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
We
you.
are so glad.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.